Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of No Tourist Allowed. Before we dive in today's episode, let's get straight into the heart-pounding excitement we've got for you.
For those of you who've been tuning in, you already know about our once in a lifetime giveaway. But if you're new here, let's lay down the groundwork.
We're giving away a 7-night Virgin Voyages cruise, and you'll be sailing in high style in a sea terrace cabin.
And you've got the freedom to choose from all available ships, dates, and ports at the time of booking. Just be sure you set sail by June 30th, 2024.
Every week, we're announcing a fresh, fun raffle entry option right here on the podcast. Last week, we offered 5 points for signing up for our newsletter.
That's right. And this week, the raffle entry, all you have to do is answer our quick poll asking, what is your favorite destination? Earn another 5 points right there.
Mine would be London, but I probably can't play. Uh, and also to make it really easy, just head over to our website, No Tourist Allowed, where you can both sign up for the newsletter and take the poll. We save all your info and points for next week's raffle entry options.
Extra pro tip, you can still get those special bonus entries by following us on social media and subscribing to our YouTube channel. All the links are in the episode description.
And we just launched our YouTube channel last week, and we've had a lot of good feedback already. But all you got to do is listen in, earn points, and who knows, your dream destination might just become your next reality.
So much fun. Now, let's jump into today's episode.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to No Tourist Allowed. We are without James for the moment. He's having some technical difficulties. He's traveling today and trying to connect, but having some difficulties. But hopefully, he'll be able to join us shortly as Nathaniel, our producer, is helping him. But very excited today to have a special guest. Matt Guidice is on from Matt's Flights. Good day, Matt. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. How about yourself?
Doing really well today. Matt has a interesting product for the travel business where he keeps people informed of special pricing on flights, specifically in regions, and we'll hear more about that, more about Matt's product in a little while. But I've certainly enjoyed being a subscriber for quite some time, and it's saved me a few bucks, and it's one of the tools in my arsenal of travel tools. But Matt, let's tell the audience a little bit more about you, where you're from, what's your travel background, and so forth.
Awesome. Yeah, my name is Matthew Guidice. I live in Delray Beach, Florida, which is a wonderful beach town here in Southeast Florida. My travel background actually did not start until a little later in life. I didn't travel too much as a child. My family didn't travel a lot. So I never really actually went overseas until I was 19 years old. When I was in college, I met a wonderful girl before my wife. So hopefully she doesn't listen to this. I won't show her it. But I met a really great girl in college, and she was an avid traveler. And she kind of opened my eyes to travel. And once we graduated university, we actually did a backpacking trip to Southeast Asia, which completely changed my life. I got to go to Thailand and Cambodia, Vietnam, all over China. And it really sparked something in me and has opened up wonderful doors in my life and given me countless blessings. And it's been a great ride ever since.
Well, that's awesome. So you were a little bit later on in your life and beginning to travel, but it sounds like you made up for it pretty quickly through your years in college. What were some of the interesting things that you found in Asia that might have helped? You know, if it did help you guide you towards a travel career.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it actually guided me towards my first business. So, traveling through Thailand in Bangkok, I saw a food tour going on. It was a guided food tour through a night market in Thailand. And I was like, oh, that is so cool to watch people walk around, try different foods, learn about the market, learn about the history of the area. And I was like, wow. So, ever since I got back from that trip, I started traveling around the world doing food tours. And so I've done maybe over 50 food tours all over the world as a guest. And I was like, you know what? I could start my own food tour. So I actually started a food tour here in Delray. I have one in Fort Lauderdale and the beach side of Fort Lauderdale as well. So being in Asia, seeing that food tour kind of guided me into this whole food tour travel industry. And yeah, I still run that business today. I'm 7 years in. And without going on that trip, I would have never known about food tours. And so
Wow.
it's kind of crazy. Yeah. People are always like, how did you find out this idea? I'm like, well, actually, I traveled and I saw them all over the world, and I'm like, you know what? Why can't I do my own version of this where I live? So it was a crazy trip, and I'm glad I did it.
I had no idea you were in that space of the travel sector as well. If somebody wanted to go on one of those tours, do you have a website or somewhere they can look you up for that?
Yeah, it's called Craft Food Tours. It's just www.craftfoodtours.com, CRAFT Food Tours. It's a wonderful way to see Southeast Florida. But yeah, the food tours were definitely my first kind of excuse to start traveling. I fell in love with the concept of eating and drinking around town with a local. And yeah, I continue to do them. I just got back from San Sebastian, Spain a few weeks ago. And then the reason I went was to do a food tour.
Oh, cool. Cool. Really cool. Yeah, and that's part of our ethos too is traveling uniquely, not traveling like a tourist and being able to spend some time with a local person who and I'm assuming on your tours you're not taking people to Hooters or places like that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Hooters, but probably something a little more authentic, more local, exposing them to some local culture and things like that.
Definitely. I mean, people want to travel and see the mom and pop shops. I mean, they want to support local businesses. That's what I do in my travels. That's definitely what people come on the tour. That's what they're looking for. They're looking to support the local small businesses here. The pandemic even, heightened that even more. People really wanted to get behind their local small businesses. So the food tour has been a hit. And yeah, I mean, and obviously we can go into Matt's flights a little bit as well, but that's been a huge push in that side in that business as well. Is that people are reaching out to go to those off the beaten path cities and live like a local, eat like a local. So it's pretty cool. I like the second tier, third tier cities around these major cities are getting some love now.
Yeah, yeah, and it's amazing that you and James haven't crossed paths because James's company, IntelliTravel, has its headquarters, or at least where the majority of the employees are, in Delray Beach as well. And as all of our listeners know, James loves food. We all, but James
Yeah,
especially loves.
when we connect, I'll definitely get him on a tour so you can come check it out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You should. So, well, great. Well, tell us a little bit about your. You kind of walked us through your college years of backpacking, and then your food tours. Of recent, have you been on any interesting trips or vacations?
Yeah, so I brought up San Sebastian. That was a very unique food experience that I did. I traveled a lot through Spain on that trip to a lot of the smaller towns. And then obviously I did the major cities as well. Um, we were talking that before we got on a little bit, is that the vacation I did prior to that was on a Virgin cruise. So I haven't done a cruise in probably 7 years now. And I did one growing up. I would do one for Thanksgiving. That was like our one trip every year was to go on a cruise. And I've kind of been a little anti-cruise, and going on the Virgin cruise kind of opened my eyes a little bit back to the cruising world. So that was kind of unique and different. Um,
Yeah.
and before that, I've done a couple of South American trips. And then I've been flying a lot domestically as well. And obviously traveling around my great state of Florida.
Yeah.
Always do small trips around Florida as well.
And for those listeners who might not have tuned in last week, we, along with Virgin Cruises, are raffling off a cruise for two and a very nice balcony cabin. And if you go to notouristallowed.com, there's information about how you can sign up. There's some other things that you could do to promote the podcast that will get you even more registrations. And the beauty of this is you get to go on this cruise absolutely free, and you're able to choose any of their 7-day cruises and it's a cruise for two, by the way. But any of their 7-day cruises, I think from January through June or July of 2024. So gives you a lot of flexibility, so you can plan around it and pick the cruise that's going to be best suited for you. But Matthew, I'm assuming you had a great time on the Virgin cruise.
Yeah, and I honestly changed my mind about cruising. When we were on there, I'm like, we should do this like once a year with my wife. So I think we're gonna start cruising again a little bit. I mean, it's definitely a way more convenient way to travel. When you do these large trips, these long trips overseas, so many issues can come up. And like the cruise kind of takes that away, which is also very nice. It's a little bit more leisure. But I'm a very adventurous person, so even when things go wrong, I kind of lean into it a little bit and just have fun with it.
Well, cool. Well, tell our listeners a little bit more about Matt's flights. I mean, it's a great tool that I've put into use quite a few times. But give us a little background about how that got started and what Matt's flights does.
Yeah, so Match Fights is an email newsletter that we send our subscribers. It's a free newsletter. We send our subscribers about 3 or 4 times weekly to destinations in the U.S. domestically, as well as international flights. And we have a premium version where we charge a fee to get the premium things, which we can get into right now if you'd like me to. Is that okay?
Sure, go ahead. Yeah, why
Awesome.
not?
So it's a premium subscriber. You actually get to choose your departure airport. So you get more deals that are relevant to you, and you'll get more deals as well. Plus, you can reach out to us directly for custom searches. So at any time, we have a support team that will do custom searches for you wherever you want to go, unlimited amount of times, as much as you want, as long as you're a premium member. And we've been
Nice.
in business for about 6 years, and it's been wonderful. I have a business partner, Brandon and Hunter, so two business partners who have been in the online space for quite some time. And they saw me doing my food tour, and we've been friends. And they're like, "Hey, we have this other opportunity for you." And yeah, we're here 6 years later. It's been wonderful.
So, how did it become Matt's flights rather than Brendan's flights or your other partners?
They're behind the scenes guys. I like to travel a lot as well, so they wanted a face for it. So they, made me the face of it, which is fine. But yeah, they gave me the name. But yeah, just basically, there's other newsletters out there, travel newsletters, and we wanted to do something unique and different. And we just scour the internet every single day looking for cheap flights.
Yeah. So the way I use the product is I'm a premium subscriber, and it's well worth it, by the way. And I travel quite a bit, but I also, being in the travel space, people are always coming to me asking me for advice, and where can I find a deal? So I share with them to get on Matt's newsletter subscription. But also, I'll hear people say, "Hey, I'll give you a great example. IntelliTravel James's company has a big event in Cancun in December, and the event's been booked for a year, and there'll be several thousand people there. And he asked me to come and speak. And I happened to see in one of your newsletters that the prices had dropped significantly for Cancun for a period of October through the end of the year, or something like that. And I looked at it, and the nice thing about it is it doesn't just say prices are lower. It actually gives you 25 or 30 different departure cities, gives you the range of dates of when you might be able to find those deals, any kind of other qualifications or requirements that are there. And it gives you actual sample pricing. And oftentimes you'll find some of these travel deals newsletter, which will give you this rock bottom price, but it's really hard to find, or you got to wear one orange sock and stay 2 weeks and come back on Monday. But these deals, although you don't generate, these are not, it's not your pricing, it's the supplier's pricing, but you're going out and ferreting these deals and finding these special offers and then sharing them. So anyhow, so what I did is I took that purposeful email and I shared it with the event coordinator, who then went and had all of the participants, the corporate side that are going to this event, book their travel within that span, and it ended up saving the company about 30%. And it wasn't just 30% on one ticket, it was 30% on 20 or 30 tickets. So, it was a great application of how you can use that.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's great to hear. We love to hear that. And yeah, I mean, it's just like we're always on top of it. We're kind of your eyes and ears in airfare world. And so I have a wonderful team built out that's constantly looking for flights. And like I said, once you become a premium member, you have direct access to my team and myself. I still log on and, respond to people who write to us. So I'm still very active in the business as well. But you have direct access to us to look for flights. And it really helps when we set up trackers for people. We go above and beyond for our customers.
So what would for a premium subscriber, and let's say they saw a deal to Los Angeles or whatever,
Mhm.
um, how would they interact with your staff to help them, or what are some of the ways that they could interact with your staff?
Yeah, it's a great question. So once you become a premium member, you get a login and you can reach out to us via the login. It sends us an email. So we typically, hey, Matt, I'm flying to Los Angeles from Denver, you know, August 5th to August 12th. And we go in, we look, and we do a custom search for you, and we send you back a few options. And we kind of go back and forth until we find the best option that suits you. Sometimes it's not always the cheapest someone's looking for. Sometimes they're looking for a more convenient flight, or maybe they want a business class. So we're very flexible with what the customer wants. And so we're just always ready to give them as many options. We do all the searching, all the heavy lifting for them.
But you don't process the tickets, right? You just give them the itineraries and tell them go here, there, wherever to book your trip, right?
Correct. We do not work directly with the airlines. We don't make commission on the airfare. Our entire business is to find you the cheapest flight, and that's what you're paying the subscription for.
Awesome, really cool. So, first of all, if we had for our listeners who are interested, how can they sign up for the newsletter and or find out more information about the premium service?
Definitely. Yeah. I would just go to mattsflights.com, mattsflights.com. From there, you'll sign up. It'll be a free newsletter, and you'll start getting our newsletters right away.
Cool, cool. Listen, we never let one of our guests get off without sharing, or at least us asking for them to share any kind of travel tips. Are there any things that you do to Is there a certain thing that you always pack? Is there a way you get through the airport quicker? Or is there anything to do to make travel less stressful that you can think of?
I mean, this might sound like everyone does it already. I'm not really sure, but I would book as far in advance as possible.
Yeah.
That means your airfare, your hotel, your attractions, tours. I would book if you're going overseas at least 3 to 6 months in advance. Domestic at least 1 to 3 months, because they play this supply demand game, and the longer you wait, the higher the price is going to be. It's no longer last minute cheap flights or cheap deals anywhere. It's very difficult to get those. It's about booking and being, trying to be as proactive as possible when you're traveling.
Great. Well, that's some great advice. So again, if somebody wants to find out more information about your food tours, it's crafttours.com.
Craftfoodtours.com and
Craft
then
food tour.
mattsflights.com. I got to plug the food tour too. This is wonderful. I never
Yeah.
did plug the food tour.
Well, awesome. Well, listen, I really do appreciate you taking the time and sharing with us today, and I'm sure our listeners will appreciate it. And they'll be able to subscribe to the newsletter and be able to get some great content like I've been able to. So, thanks, Matt. I really appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
So, Mike, I am here with you from incredibly beautiful Santa Fe. Those of you who are watching this on our YouTube channel can see my little kiva, my little like beehive fireplace in this room, and also I think you could probably see this beautiful wood ceiling, all very traditional. This property that I'm at is called. It's run by Hilton, but it's a Native American casino and resort called Buffalo Thunder. Very famous just outside of Santa Fe city limits in the foothills, and incredible desert uh, landscape, beautiful gardens, and the whole property. Well, I'm going to show it to you as I talk to you. And
And
uh,
you said there's a casino there, James?
There is, yes,
That's
a big casino, and you can see that the the property is designed to look like a traditional Native American pueblo, like you would see at Mesa Verde. In fact, Mesa Verde, the famous archaeological site, was the um, inspiration for this particular hotel. There's a beautiful spa here. There's a golf course you might be able to make out in the desert foothills there. I don't know how they do that. But anyway, very beautiful spa, casino, restaurants, um, really very lovely. And Santa Fe, man, a wonderful destination. Have you ever been, Mike?
No, I have not been. I have not been to New Mexico, period.
Oh,
Now that I
well,
think about
one of my favorite places on the planet, I have to say. I find this landscape beautiful. I find the Native American culture so beautiful and inspiring. This hotel is filled with artwork and pottery displays from the local Native American tribes. And when you go into Santa Fe, it's all artisan crafts and beautiful art galleries. And I mean, if you're into art, if you're into jewelry, turquoise and precious stone Native American jewelry, um, Santa Fe is the place to be. And I would, of course, it wouldn't be James if I didn't mention the food.
it. Yeah, I
Uh,
was waiting for that. I was waiting.
it's it's also a foodie capital. Mark Miller, one of the famous celebrity chefs, opened the Coyote Cafe here in Santa Fe. Oh, it must be 30 years ago, and still going strong. I ate last night in a famous 100-year-old hotel called La Fonda, right on the square, the historic square, the plaza in the middle of Santa Fe. And the hotel itself was built in 1922 and a beautiful adobe style. But on that site, there have been coach stops and hotels since the early 1600s.
Wow.
So they claim that that is the oldest hotel site in the United States.
How about that? I was not aware of that. And
Interesting.
and probably the oldest bus terminal, it sounds like.
Right, exactly. Those coach houses. So, um, anyhow, great experience here. And I highly recommend Santa Fe as a destination. And we're enjoying this Buffalo Thunder Resort very much too. And they didn't pay us for a commercial, but they're doing a great job. So, Mike, the last time we were together, sort of apropos to a discussion like this, we were talking about what we called our manifesto for no tourists allowed.
Yes.
Our kind of ideas for how our listeners can travel better, travel in a more memorable way, try to travel in a more authentic way, not get caught up in overly touristic sites and places and experiences, but to experience more local culture and so on, right? So we started that way.
Yeah, and I think part of that is, it's up to the traveler, which we also talked last week about graduating from a tourist to a traveler, and it's up to the traveler to keep a couple of rules in mind when you're traveling too. And when my kids were growing up, we traveled quite a bit, and they had this thing about spotting people who are tourists, and they called them German Tourons. Nothing against the German people, but they would tend to have the cameras dangling around their neck when people had cameras, but also have the kind of kulak pants, which are not they don't go down to your ankles and don't go, but they do go below your knees, and loud, flowery shirts. And it's when you're at a destination where a popular destination, let's just say, oftentimes it's easy to pick out the tourist. And when you do, you're kind of opening, and if you dress like a tourist based upon your dress, then you're opening yourself up to maybe being taken advantage of by some of those people that maybe like pickpockets. So, in general, just don't wear things that look like a tourist, right? Um, Try not to wear the fanny packs. I know those are convenient. Things to have, but try not to wear those. When you're in another country, like I go to India often, people just in general don't wear shorts, right? So it can be really hot there, and sometimes it's not. But in general, men just don't wear shorts. It's just not necessarily accepted. So do a little bit of research before you go to your destination. Find out a little bit more about what the norms are in terms of dress, and just don't look like a tourist.
Absolutely. Last time we talked about having a genuine interest in the culture, the local culture. We talked about eating locally, of course. Now you've mentioned some other important ideas. And another one, and I remember we covered this early on in our first season, is to attempt to speak the language, right? It is it is the polite thing to do, rather than show up in a country. And unfortunately, Americans sometimes have this attitude: show up in someone else's country and expect them to speak your language. Right now,
Right.
I'm not saying you need to get fluent. You're traveling to Italy and all of a sudden you're going to be fluent in Italian. How about just learning hello and thank you? Just those two things, and that will change the way people treat you in those destinations. When you walk into a hotel, a boutique, a shop, and in France, and you say bonjour, the they will start talking to you in French, especially if your accent is good, and you will have no idea what they're saying. But that's okay. You will
Right.
quickly explain that you don't understand. But the attitude that you will get from that shop person will be, this customer just attempted at least to speak my language. And there's a kind of respect that comes from that. So it's very simple.
Yeah, and on top of language too, etiquette. So there are
Yeah.
some different etiquettes. Couple that come to mind are when you're in India, people typically shake with their left hand rather than their right hand. When you're in Japan, and you're greeting someone, as many of you I'm sure have seen on TV, rather than shake hands, you stand back a bit and do a, call it a half bow or a three quarters bow. And then if you're presenting a business card, and this is really actually this has helped my business career when I've been in Asia because it's beyond Japan. But you provide the bow, and then with two hands, I don't know if you can see on the screen, you present your business card like this, and you do it face up. But I'm trying to not show
Hmm.
whose card I'm having, and you actually present it so that they're reading it. So just a couple of small etiquette things like that you can learn online, goes a long way to set up the first steps of a really genuine relationship with locals.
Yeah. And when someone gives you their business card in Japan, I know this is really important. It might be a reflex reaction for you to accept the card and shove it into your pocket. But but actually what you should do is look at the card carefully, as if you've been given something of value, right? And so you
Yeah,
treat the card like it's valuable, you look at it carefully, you thank the person for giving it to you, and then you put it away. Otherwise, it could seem a little rude. Mike, you and I are big readers. We both love to quote from authors. I have a quote I want to share with everyone today,
okay.
and it's the quote: respect and acceptance stem from simple acts, such as remembering a person's name and using it. Remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language. And that
Oh,
was Dale Carnegie who wrote that, probably what, 75 years ago. But
yeah,
my tip here is, remember names when you're traveling and you meet people and you're introduced to people. Remember those names and use them. That is another bridge into a culture and being treated not like a tourist.
absolutely. That's a good quote. Good quote, and a nice thought to end our show with today. So I'd like to
Absolutely.
thank all of our listeners out there, and please go to notouristallowed.com to register for our fantastic giveaway, the 7-night cruise for two on Virgin Voyages, which they've so generously supplied to No Tourist Allowed. But look forward to speaking with you again next week, where we've got some exciting guest, and hopefully we have exciting host as well, and and, and we'll be back to see you at that point.
Absolutely, Mike. We have a season of guests. We have a season of more points in our manifesto at No Tourist Allowed. So we'll be sharing more of those next week. And, just on the Virgin Voyages giveaway, I hope everyone understands, all of our listeners, this is a swanky cruise.
Yeah.
This is not some like same old 7-day cruise. Virgin is doing like a really premium high end job with their cruising, and this is quite the giveaway. So good luck to all of you, and we'll see you here next week. Thank you for being here at No Tourists Allowed.